What's going on? How's everybody doing? Gonna get some quick New Year's Day streaming on. Gotta do some warm up. How's it going? Today has been a good day. I'm not sure what did everybody do for New Year's Eve last night. I stayed in. We had a concert, and then I stayed in. Uh, I stayed in, and we drank a bunch of like champagne and stuff, and then we played one of those escape room games. It's called Exit, where you play it once and you like cut up stuff on it, and once you know what the game is, or once you know what the answers are, you can't play the game again. It's pretty crazy. Apparently, it's like their games are like $10, and it was very difficult, and it took us 3 hours to finish, but it was awesome. Hey Andrew, what's going on, man? How's the program feeling? How are these 50% slow days treating you? Yes, fifth pictures at 50% tempo is definitely something else. But hopefully you feel. I know we did this a little bit in your lesson, but hopefully you feel like it's like a doable feat to play with a great sound. Or if not, you can hear what's going on. You feel like you might be able to control making some of those improvements. And we're not trying to make all of the improvement today. We're just trying to make some improvement and then stay there. So next time we pick up there and then we move on, and we pick up there when we move on. Um, I was going to say something else, but I don't remember. So I'm going to keep warming up. How was your New Year's Day been, man? So, in my quest to learn how to play a double C, I'm getting a little bit better. And one way I've changed it a little bit is to do. Sorry, my brain just shut off. Is to do now arpeggios, 2-octave arpeggios up to double G, A flat A, B flat B, and then C to sort of bridge the gap a little bit, or to know that it's not going to happen rather than, because what I used to do is I would just go to the G and be like, okay, now it's time to fly up to the C. And I would just get frustrated and whatnot. So now I'm going to try to slowly bridge the gap and get more comfortable in between. And for me, I don't just care about getting a double C. I care about being able to have a double C that is connected to everything else that I'm doing. And so that's also why I come back down and I try to tongue some low stuff to make sure that it's all connected. It's all part of the same thing. So while I'm warming up, I'd love to hear how people's New Year's Eve celebrations went. If you haven't told me, um, good for you, man. Good for you. Mapping out the organization is essential, I think, because you'll be able to. So whatever you mapped out, do it that way for sure for about 2 weeks. Don't deviate at all. And then after 2 weeks, you can kind of see, okay, maybe I need to tweak this or I need to tweak that. But I think it's a really good idea to give yourself a chance to see if it's going to work or not. And oftentimes, we'll play in one session and something won't be working and we think something is wrong. But oftentimes, we just need a couple of days to sort of groove something out, and we don't give ourselves that chance to do that. So I would highly recommend, for better or for worse, no matter what you wrote out, follow it so that you can see if it works or if you can see that it doesn't. Probably, preferably for like 2 or maybe even 3 weeks. If that makes sense. Right. So it's not there today. That's all right. That's okay. So we're going to move on to the routine. We have the 1 minute drill. Now let's do flexibility first. So flexibility is going to be the sax page 11 at 80. Where you at? There you at. All right. So while I'm doing this, I know people did stuff for New Year's Eve. Let's talk about it. Let me into your world. Mario and Shaw, thanks for the well wishes. Happy New Year to you guys too. How are your celebrations? What'd you guys do? We got to do Arbin, Page, 177, right? Oh, 176. Dude, I ate half. We made a pizza at our house, and I ate like half of the pizza we made, and then I probably ate like 15 chocolate chip cookies, and you just couldn't stop me. I was an animal yesterday. It was awesome. All right, we're doing some double tonguing now. Nice. When you visited family, did you have to travel somewhere, or are they just in town and you just went to somebody's house? Yeah, we just hung. It was me, my wife Kathleen, and my good friend Corey Johnson, who's a trumpet player who's playing with the orchestra. And we just like, yeah, we had some food, we had some drink, played a game, watched some of Pink Panther. It was great. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Dude, that sounds like more than a good day. It sounds like the dream. Who gave you the mouthpieces, Shaw? Has anybody? I've not seen Frozen 2. Is it worth seeing? We wanted to go see it with the kids. I'm sure they would love it anyway, but we read some reviews that were a little mixed, so we ended up going to see, or we ended up renting a different movie and watching it at our house. That was a couple weeks ago. Are you looking to are you looking to change mouthpieces, or are you just trying stuff out because it's fun? What are you not happy with your current setup, Shaw? I'll take your word for it, Mario. I mean, like I said, the kids are gonna love it no matter what. I'm sure, and if you think it's better than the first, that's awesome. What do we got? 1 minute drill at 93. That's feeling better. I don't know how I'm going to be able to tongue it at the speed that I want to, which might be a mistake, but most of all, I kind of have my accent because I was trying to horn into my mouthpiece. Little happy little accent, and it seems like. Good for you, man. Let me know how it goes. Routine low etude drills. All right. If there's anybody who's just joining in, I'd love to know what you did for your New Year's Eve celebrations last night, or how your day is going today. Let me know what's up. Cool. It's nice that you have your dad to probably help guide you through that instead of just sort of shooting in the dark. Andrew, what's up, man? Happy New Year. You got big plans for today, or it's a pretty chill day? Yeah, I mean, I had some good teachers and stuff like that, but and I know sometimes that when you have a music playing parent, it can be weird to play an instrument. But if you have a good relationship about it, yeah, it's such a huge and awesome resource to have. Yeah, definitely. It's getting kind of fast. It seems like good food is a theme amongst everybody's celebrations, which makes a lot of sense. What kind of food did you eat? Also, what's your favorite food? What's everybody's favorite food? I'm going with pickles. I released that in my blog post that I released today on my website. I wrote these like 10 things that you may not know about me. I said that pickles are my favorite food and I could eat them forever as long as I didn't die, which would happen because of the acid. Oh, hey, Colin. Happy New Year, man. That's awesome. That low key night for me, too, man. I've had too many. I mean, I would be open to a party, but I've had so many chicken strips and fries. Legit. That's legit. With ranch, I hope. Or ketchup and mayo combined for the fries. Yeah, I've had a lot of crazy parties in the past, so I'm happy to do low key nights these nights. What movie did you watch? I assume a kids movie. Ah, you lost me at sweet and sour sauce. On chicken strips and fries, no way. It's all right. I guess we can agree to disagree, but this ranch for the chicken strips and ketchup and mayo for the fries all the way. Homemade bread, that's legit. Nice. And like man, when I was a kid, I just did not like pie at all. I was one of those weird kids that I just really didn't want to eat it. I didn't want to deal with it. I've come around a little bit, but it's a food I've never really gotten on board with. Like there might be something wrong with me. What are the best burger places where you are, Shaw? Colin, that's like my go-to question all the time. Is when people are eating pickles, I always ask them because I know it's a food that's like that. Yeah, pie is weird like that. You have some people who just love it. I think all things in life are like that. The stuff that's really worth it, people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. If you can kind of be in the middle, I don't know. All right, so we done with routine. All right, we up here. Let's get some Cascades action. So we are in week 5, which means I think this is. Let's see. I think this is 90%. Pub food in general, for sure, man. For sure, pub burgers are the best. I think for me, my favorite. I actually feel like I make a pretty good burger. I'm not sure if it's the best burger, but sometimes I feel like the burgers I can make on the grill, and it's like literally just meat and then like seasoning, right? Sometimes I feel like they're good enough that, um, I might as well have those. But every once in a while, you get to a bar that they got a killer burger, and it's definitely better. I was practicing having kids. My wife and I just had our first son. His schedule and my work make it hard. I've been getting up around 4. Yeah, Carl, I think that's the solution, man. I mean, I have these little programs I have that make it so I know exactly what I got to do. So if there's any other way I can encourage you, whether you have something like what I have or you do your own, having like a structured plan of like, all right, I'm going to practice this thing for this many minutes, even down to I'm going to use these exercises, and then to get even further, I'm going to play them at these tempos. As many things as you can plan out, I think makes it so you're just like, okay, I just got to do one A, B, C, D, E, F, G straight down the list, and when you're done, you're done. And I find it reduces a lot of the time in my practice where I'm unsure of what to do. And so you just gotta maybe write out your five skills, 5 weaknesses that you want to work on. Assign yourself some exercises to work on each one for like 10 minutes, and then plus a 10-minute warm up, and there you have an hour's worth of work. But it's really focused. You're playing a lot, and it can be, in my opinion, it can be really beneficial. Yeah, especially to have that structure, so that you can kind of just boom, get in, get out, and get to the really important stuff, which is obviously like making sure that your kid is taken care of and your wife is taken care of. So I hope that helps. If you have more questions, I'm more than happy. I love talking about this. So if you have questions about how to structure it out, I'm more than happy to keep talking about it. So keep asking questions if that's not enough information. I've never had oats in my burger, but I bet it is. Robbie, what's up, man? Are you working on that video at all? If you are, how's it going? I'm gonna play some. Okay, I gotta play Cascades. All right, we got to do the first 4 lines. I think the first 4 lines, and we're going to do it at 153. So we're at 90% now. So when you start to get to like 85, 90% of the goal tempo, it starts to feel like the piece. And so we can really get a feel for what kind of mental space we need to be in to make sure that we're thinking ahead, we're visualizing, imaging, whatever. Sweet, man. Well, like I said, you don't have to put in more effort than is necessary, but I'd be curious to see how it works for you, because I think logic will work differently. Also, I came up with an idea to section out. So I did this with Barbara's episode as an example, to section out the part at the very end of the episode where she talks about why music matters, and then just to put images with the episode thing, and I can upload that to YouTube so people can share with family and friends that are non-musicians, and they can hear someone like Barbara say, "Oh, that sucks." So you'd have to chop up the videos. Yeah, that might be too difficult. So yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but so we could like share it with family and friends, and they could say, who don't really understand like what it is to be a musician or why it matters, and then we can say, watch this video if you want to know why my career matters to our culture and our society. I think could be a really cool thing to be able to share. Gosh, that run felt great. This section has been one of the hardest for me to learn and to feel confident in. But that felt good. We're going to run this line, and that line. Yeah, Carl, I asked her about it, and I can keep bugging her about it, but I said people would be looking for that list of things, and I never heard back from her. I can pressure her, but it might not be on the top list of the top of the things. Interestingly, Colin, I feel like I'm not really doing anything differently. I just did this process with the 7 week work on this piece one time already. And so I learned a lot. I got a lot better at it. And then when I started over, my 50% work was so much more on point because I had already gone through the process. And so it's interesting to feel like I could go through the process once as sort of this precursor to the actual time I would do it when I would actually be ingraining it. And so you would take a total of 14 weeks to learn this piece of music, but then maybe you would own it on the other side. Yeah, it's an interesting thought, very different from how I've normally practiced, which is I just have to spend the time and then I work through it all the way, and then when I'm done, I'm as good as I'm ever going to be on that. Boom. That feels good too. Things are starting to just shape up a little bit, which is nice. All right, so 136. Yeah, for anyone interested, Robbie Garrison very wonderfully offered to spend his time with me a couple days ago, and we shot some angles and stuff for the YouTube or the video I made of the Ketting Entrada. Sorry, the audio I made of the Ketting Entrada. We made some video for it, and we're going to try to put it together and make a baller YouTube video all on our own. I have no idea what I'm doing, and so this is my sort of my attempt to just dive all in and see if I can do it. But I'm pretty excited to see if we can put this together. Colin, how's your stuff going, man? How's that upper register etude? How's the endurance stuff going? Are things getting better? So you think you can edit it together without the, and then just put the audio on it later? Do you want money for that? I can pay you. Mom, you're here. Happy New Year. Enjoy some Cascades by Alan Vizzuti. Well, that's very kind of you, Robbie. Yeah, I mean, I would be curious to see. So the only things, and you can watch other videos to kind of. I would watch videos, not just Caleb's video, but Jeremy Wilson has a bunch of videos on his YouTube site. I would watch those to see how they do their transitions because it looks a lot. A lot of times, it looks like it's not right on the phrases. It's kind of a couple notes after the phrase starts or whatever, and you can experiment. Very few videos have I seen do they do dissolving cuts. So maybe not every single cut would be a dissolving cut, and we can talk about it later. But dude, I'm really happy to hear that, man. It's crazy too. I mean, you're welcome to kind of expand upon this, but it's crazy too to me just how you didn't need to do anything different on the trumpet. It's just organization, right? It's just like understanding how to progress in sort of a smart way. It's fascinating to me how that works. All right, Robbie, I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it to you when I'm done streaming. Mom, did you party hard last night? Yeah, I'm kind of following up on what I was just saying, Colin, and this is for everybody. I'd be curious on anybody else's opinion or thoughts on this, what I'm about to say, but I just think many trumpet players are much better than they realize that they are. It's just we don't organize or think about our practice in a way that's allowing us to reach our maximum potential because it's hard for us to think long term. And so we think very short term, like practice session to practice session. And when we sound good, we overdo it. And when we sound bad, we get frustrated and quit. And we don't sort of live in the middle space very often where it's like, I'll do enough to get better, but not so much that I blow my face out. And doing that over a long period of time, understanding that progress takes a long time. And I've said this on other streams, but I feel like I'm getting the benefit of practicing with structure for the better part of a year now. I took a long bit off of streaming, but I streamed about a year ago on Facebook learning the Jolove. None of the structure, none of these programs, just trying to start practicing smarter, and this is as far as I've come. So yeah, I'd be curious for other people's thoughts if they struggle getting organization and structure in their playing, or what their thoughts are of what it does, what structure and organization has done for them, or if they feel like everything I just said, if you guys think everything I just said is wrong, I'm fine with that too. Let's talk about it. Yeah, that feels really good. This is as good as it's felt ever. It's kind of funny. I don't really think about good days and bad days on the trumpet anymore, but this is what I would classify as a good day for me. Things just feel like they're centered. Things feel like I don't have to work too hard to get things going. So it's good. It doesn't normally feel quite this good. Usually it feels about just pretty good. Gosh, it's so funny. I've watched video game streamers for a long while, and I've seen them. They'll be playing their video game and they'll be reading chat at the same time, and then they'll make some mistake and die in some funny way. The equivalent of that for me is I'm trying to practice, and instead of focusing on what I'm doing, I'm looking at chat to read it and see like what's going on. It's kind of funny. Have you guys checked out the podcast episode that I released today? It's an interview. She was not my consultant at the time, but I have been consulting with Karen ever since I did that episode, and she is an amazing human being. And I would be, if I were you, I'd be checking that out. So how do you organize? I mean, is do you mean forcing yourself to rest, like in that exercise where you play for 10 seconds and then rest for 20 seconds, or have you incorporated that in other areas of your practice? So and like how have you transitioned, or how have you incorporated that over? I'm kind of curious what forcing yourself to practice looks like. So I think I have two more repetitions. I'll probably just knock those out real quick, and then we have tromba solo, and then I need to practice the triple tonguing variation from Fantasia Brilliante, because I got to record that on Instagram in the near future. Dude, that's so cool to me that I mean, we obviously don't talk all the time. And so it's just super cool that you've just stuck to that you've stuck to that you know, program or type of programming, and it's working for you. I think that's so cool, and I'm very happy to hear it. All right, we got the opening at 432 beats per minute. One time. Let's rack this. All right. That's just under, I think that's like 96 beats per minute or something. Yeah, Colin, it feels really good. Can't complain too much. All right, we're going to do this measure of rest to the end a couple of times. We're going to try to just play it straight through and see what happens. Also, the Ole Edvard Antonsen recording of this is the one that I'm using for sort of my inspiration slash to see what's possible. And I tried to play with his recording. Just couldn't even come close. It's so much faster. It's insane. It's just insane. So the thing that's a little frustrating about this piece is I understand it. I understand how to play it. I understand what I want to do with it. I just physically can't actually tongue fast enough to play it yet. And so my plan is to finish out this cycle of doing it, and then I'm going to put it away. I'm gonna just spend like 6 months trying to figure out how to tongue faster, going through all the different ways that that's possible, and then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna run the 7-week program again, and see if after 6 months of improving my single tongue, if I'm able to play it more the way I want to, rather than just like banging my head up against the wall, trying over and over and over. I'm gonna try to demonstrate what it looks like to set the repertoire aside and physically program my way to get better at single tonguing. Yeah, so I'm curious what people's thoughts are on this. If people want to chime in and let me know what they think. What I'm mostly testing right now is what would happen if you just spent 6 weeks playing a piece perfectly and you just adjusted the tempo to be able to do that. This is very different from how I normally would practice. I would just try to play it at speed over and over and over and see if I could figure it out. And if I couldn't, I'd slow it down a little bit. But to program my way into playing it, being able to feasibly play it perfectly, um, is landing in this place where I can just sort of hit the button, pick up my horn, and just lay it down. And that's very different. That I've not had this skill for my entire life. I've actually been wondering, how do you develop consistency? Because I would play recitals and they would be like 95% good, if you want to say that. But I would struggle with getting that last little bit. And I think I'm closing in on the idea that the reason I couldn't get that last 95%, it was the way I was preparing, not because I was lacking in ability. It was the way I had structured it and the way that I had not really given myself the chance to really truly learn what's going on and how to play everything. So I realize when I'm playing this piece of music and I play the level of trumpet at the level that I do, but we can all scale the music and the repertoire we're working on to be able to play something that's within our ability range, even if it's easy Arbin, within our ability range, but at a quality with which we want to play, and then build from there. Rest periods suck. Wish I could just play forever and get it over with. All right, one more section here. I might play this 4 times. I might play it 3 times. And then I gotta work through Fantasia Brilliante, which I'll show you guys how I would, when I have just a small section to learn, I don't necessarily approach it the same way that I approach this. I have sort of a abbreviated thing that I do where I'll play it at a slow tempo a couple of times and then a fast tempo once, just to make sure everything is good to go, and then that's it. I'm not quite nearly quite the structured because I want to learn it faster. So I'll show you what that's like. My friend Corey is practicing upstairs, and he's playing at half tempo or very slow tempos. Bum, 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 bum. And I just, when you listen to it on the other side, it makes perfect sense why people hate practicing at half tempo or very slow tempos. It's just boring. So, what I do is I try to focus on the quality being the thing that makes me really work for it, rather than thinking I need to figure out how to play this as fast as possible so I enjoy doing this. The enjoyment comes from doing it at my highest level, and that helps a lot when playing at half tempo, to focus on the holistic aspect of it, the musical expression, the intonation, the articulation, the rhythm, the sound quality, trying to focus on the holistic output of it rather than just can I get through it. All right, for my third time, I'm only going to do it 3 times just because I feel like I own this section. I don't need to do the 4 times through to learn it. I'm going to try to do it memorized, and we're going to see what's going to happen. I think I did it right. There's only one measure that I wasn't sure about. No, I did it right. Um, I did a dynamic change in there that wasn't necessary to do, but you live and learn. So 12 solos. All right. Fantasia Brilliante. So my goal tempo with this is 110, I think. So I'm going to do it at today at 60%, 2 times. Yeah, dude. Sergei Karikov is, it's like low key. I want to figure out if it's possible to do what he's doing or if he's as if he's a mutant. Yeah, that video, it got passed around on Facebook for a little while where he's just like chilling out, playing the craziest stuff ever and just making it look like it's the easiest thing ever. So, yeah, I low key want to figure out if it's possible to actually do that. Or like I said, if he's some sort of crazy mutant. So, Andrew, the thing that's really interesting to me is he's been playing like that since he was 17, 18 years old, you know? And so, gosh, how did he do that? And is it because he just did it right when he was a kid, you know? I mean, I'm sure there's an amount of aptitude he showed for the trumpet, but what if he just did it right? What if he didn't try to play things that were too hard for him and he just slowly progressed and he slowly figured it out? And by the time he was from the ages of 10 to 15, he just never ingrained anything bad, you know? For us at the ages of 10 to 15, we're playing band music and we're not really like practicing that guy. What if he was as disciplined as I am right now at age 10? It kind of makes sense, you know? I mean, I do that for the Royal March in the Soldier's Tale, and that's the only thing I do. That seems like it would be crazy hard, Mario. But if you got it, you got it, man. Yeah, but I mean, Colin, it goes to a bigger issue I see with how we approach music, like education, is that we view assigning yourself or your teacher assigning you something that's more difficult than you can play right now, and then you growing into that as the model for how it is. Because we view, if you should be in the practice room and you should be sounding bad and you should be figuring things out, but we haven't really, that leaves out this whole component of what we sound like and what we do psychologically from the time it takes us to start it to possibly learning it. What happens in between? We can't erase that. We can't erase what that feeling is. And I don't know. I just feel like it's a mistake to just think that the only way to get better is to play things that are too hard until you figure it out. I think that's a mistake. And it's a mistake I've been a party to, and it is what it is. You know how good John Rommel sounds too? He was in the finals for Principal in Chicago around the same time Chris Martin won it way back in the day. Yeah, I should try to interview him or talk to him about it. I'd be curious to see what his thoughts are, because it seems to be not the way the majority of how it goes is. It seems the majority of it is, yeah, I'm going to give you something that's too difficult and we'll talk about how to get there. Instead of, we're just going to assign you things that are at your level or just above. Totally. Yeah, totally. And I think the majority of a young person's time, if you could just not worry about playing repertoire, if you could get a kid to not worry about playing repertoire, then you could spend the majority of that time in Arbin and Clark and Goldman and some Bordoni, just refining their ability to healthily play the trumpet, and then say, cool, now that you can do that, you've spent 4 or 5 years doing that, let's move on from there. Oh, he's got a Brass Chats one. I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna play this at 90% now, which is basically 100 beats per minute. So if you're someone that is interested in that, like doing what I just did, which is that's all I would practice Fantasia Brilliante. I've given myself enough time to work my way up to it, but that's all I would practice for this day, and I would just do something close to that every day. Maybe tomorrow I'll do 65%, or maybe I'll do 60% again. I'm a little less structured about it, but it's very, very important that if you do that, thanks, Mario. Yeah, I've been slowly working at it, trying to figure out to go faster. I want to be able to go 10 clicks faster. That's my goal. And so it's important that I stop there and I don't try to say, oh, I almost had it, I should try it again. Yeah, I'll try it again. I'll try it again tomorrow, or maybe the next day, or something like that. But I want the majority of what I do to be ingraining the right thing, not barely holding on to the wrong thing. So I'm actually pretty happy with how that went, all things considered. It's not necessarily at performance level. I mean, it's a performance level I'm happy with, right? But I know that it's got some improvement to make. And so that improvement, it's very important for everybody to sort of get on board with this idea that improvement is made in slow tempo work. Very rarely is improvement made at the fast tempo work. The fast tempo work is where we test to see where our weaknesses, where do we have to work. Oh, my tongue can't move that fast. Okay, cool. Maybe I address the goal tempo. Oh, I'm not coordinated with my fingers. Okay, at slow tempos, you're super zoned in and focused on coordination. Oh, these accents aren't coming out. At slow tempos, that's where you hammer out these accents. You don't just play it again at tempo and hope for the best, because that's not really where improvement happens, at least in my opinion. But that's what I've been testing for the better part of a year, and it seems to be true that consistency is built in slow tempo work, somewhere between 50 and 80% of the goal tempo that you want. And choosing that tempo depends on how far away from the performance you are. If the performance is next week, I would not recommend playing things at 50% tempo, because maybe as a checkup, maybe, but I wouldn't be spending a good amount of time at 50% tempo. If the performance is in 6 weeks, totally, that's your time to spend 50% building, making sure all the things are in the right place. So, I'm trying to record this. I don't remember how long. In 2 weeks from today, or 2 weeks from tomorrow. So, yeah, I have some time. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. I should have a video coming tomorrow of Barbara Butler talking about why music matters. It's from her podcast episode, so if you've already listened to her podcast episodes, you're not missing anything. But if you follow me on social media and you see it, feel free to share it with others who may not have seen it, or again, family and friends who would be interested in seeing why it's important, what we do, and all those kinds of things. So I'm going to get out of here, hang out with my family on New Year's. So just remember, we all can do awesome, really, really great things, and it's up to us to find out what it is and invest in ourselves to get that thing done. So let's all work for it. Let's all get it done, and I'll see you later.